Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Welcome back to my channel. I know you all must be wondering where I have been busy, right? So I'm perfectly fine. Thanks for all your concern. I was busy with my Udemy course, and my third course is now online available on Udemy, and it's about tangling on tan surfaces and gray surfaces, right? Basically toned paper. So you might want to have a glimpse of the course. So that is what kept me busy for the last 20-25 days, and now I'm back with a bang. Yeah. So let's get started with a new series today. And what I'm going to do is draw a tile. This is a regular square tile, and I'm going to draw it normally, just as usual. And then we are going to give it a stitched kind of a feel, right? So what I'm going to do is stitch my tile or insert something that gives it a stitched kind of a feeling, right? A small little technique that will help you enhance the look of the tile, make it look a little different by giving a few stitches here and there. Just that the stitches will give the effect of a thread going under and over, or a ribbon going under the tile, coming out of the tile again going under. And that's why I thought of naming it ins and outs, right? Because there's something like a ribbon or a thread going inside the tile and then again coming up, again going in. So gives a nice and beautiful touch to the tile, something different, right? So let's get started. So I have this brown pen in front of me. If you have a brown pen or you have a blue pen, use whatever you have handy. If you want to tangle with the black micron, you are free to do that. I'm for a change going to use my brown micron here and going to tangle on this tile, right? So I'm just going to start with a tangle called Mocha, and I'm just going to fill up the tile with a mix of tangles, starting first with mocha. Yeah. So again extending, again. You don't have to lift your hand when you draw the tangle mocha. Mocha is a one stroke tangle, right? So it's pretty flowy, has a nice flow and movement to it. You don't really need to lift your hand when you're drawing the tangle mocha, right? So some flux here and there in the in between spaces. So choose whatever tangles you feel like. Just fill the tile with a mix of nice tangles, right? So you can use your own mix of tangles. There is no compulsion on that. Feel free to choose your go-to tangles. Again, drawing a tangle called Joki, right? So take your time and slowly start to add tangles on your tile, right? So now I'm just ensuring that I don't use tangles that have too much of inking involved, right? So I'm using simpler tangles with more lines, tangles which do not have much of inking, right? So that's one thing in my mind as I tangle along, right? So use a nice mix of tangles. I'm now moving on to some munchin probably, yeah. So just going to add a dot here, and draw some munchins. Again a dot here, drawing behind. Feel free to draw what you feel like. So I hope you enjoyed the Inktober series. Almost everybody is busy doing the Inktober tangles during the month of October. That's one reason why I thought of taking a break and completing my course on which I was working. Right? So I'm just going ahead and drawing some munchins here. You can always start with your dots first, right? The way it is usually drawn. I'm doing the exercise at the same time. Yeah. Again, feel free to add some orbs here and there. Right? So again, we will move on to some other tangle and fill in all the space on the tile. Right? So now that we are done with it, let's add some more printums here. My go-to tangle. I don't think there is even one tile that I have made without this tangle. So feel free to use your go-to tangle. Take your time, slowly tangle along and fill in your tile. Before we stitch it up. Yeah, right. So I'm just going to fill up this space with printums. You can also add some nice orbs. Very small little spaces, feel free to ink it. That's fine. Yeah. But I'm avoiding too much of inking here, keeping it to the minimum. Yeah, again, the leftover spaces, I'm just adding printums to fill up the space. Yeah, now again, you can extend with some poke leaves and poke roots there. Right? Take your time. Again, feel free to add small little orbs here and there. Yeah. Some flux. Small little spaces you can comfortably fill in. Add tipples. Add flux. The beauty of these tangles is there is no standard shape to them. You can always play around with the shape and fit it in depending on whatever spaces you have. Right? So it's very flexible, it's very adjustable. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. One more here. Right? Now let us add some bales probably. I'm just choosing tangles randomly, whatever is coming to my mind. No planning here, and I want you to do the same. Just go with the tangles coming to your mind at that point of time. Don't have to plan your tile. So moving on now to my bales. Again, small little spaces here. Find a filler tangle that comes easily to you and then just fill it. Yeah. Going on to my bales. The rice shapes on both sides of the line. You may have to draw behind. Yeah. Rotate your tile. Do the same exercise horizontally. Take your time. Yeah. Done with that. If you want, you can insert an orb there with slight weight on one side. Yeah. And then probably we can move on to some other tangle, something like ravel. So again, going to draw some straight line ravel here. Not going to add curves. Something like the tangle garlic clubs or a simpler version of ravel, right? So just start with some random dots and keep connecting the dots, or you can just extend them the way you want, right? I'm just going random, extending it the way I want. Somehow I don't like to be bound. Yeah. So you can just start with some random dots, and this is a simpler version of ravel where you don't insert those orbs or connect it with the S shape. Instead, just connect dots with lines and add auras. Yeah, much simpler to draw and adds a nice texture to your tile. Small little spaces in between, feel free to add an orb here and there or just fill it up, whichever way you are comfortable. Yeah. You can also fill up the entire space inside with auras. So just one thing that I'm keeping in mind here is not to add tangles which have inking involved. That will make my stitchings, it will be little difficult to show my stitches then, because I can't really shade on inked sections, right? So that's the whole idea. So just a little bit here, and then we move on to another tangle, probably toodles or something like that. Or you can add any other geometric tangle. Right? Just filling in the leftover spaces. Take your time. No hurry. Enjoy the strokes. Yeah. Then probably I'll add a few, I don't know, maybe doodles. Yeah. Just going with my go-to tangles. Small ones here. Give a nice curve. Very small little spaces, either fill it in or add an orb. You can always draw behind. Two fescues on both sides. Then I give a nice curvy shape there. Add some more of my ravel here. Spaces are such, probably this tangle will do better there. Right? Little spaces, add some orbs. Very small spaces, just ink it in. One more printum here. Yeah. Add a few fescues. Alright, just like mochas. Just a simpler version of mocha. Yeah. Drawing a fescue and auraing it. Fescues is a very versatile tangle, can be used in so many different ways, like mochas, like sprinkle, like fescues. Yeah, there's so many variations to it. Beautiful filler, beautiful standalone tangle. I use it a lot. Can use it in different ways. Right, it's almost finishing my tile here. So don't hurry up, just go with the flow, enjoy tangling, draw the tile at your own pace, because that's the main activity here. That's not much to do after you have drawn the tile. Stitching it up is a simple exercise. Yeah. Again, up to you whether you want to fill up the spaces or just avoid filling up. So if you want, you can always go back to your printums, but just avoid filling up the spaces, right? Because we don't want too much of inking there, right? So I'm just adding some orbs there and avoiding filling it up unless it is a very small space. Yeah, take your time, enjoy the process. Again, I'm just adding tipples, going back to the spaces, adding tipples. Yeah. So I'm finished with my tangling. Now what I'm going to do is, if you are not confident of drawing these lines directly on the surface of your tile, you can always use your pencil and draw some reference line. I don't think it is very much visible here, so it's a better idea to draw it directly with your pen. So either use a bolder nib like an O8, or you can also use your Identi pen, right? The wider side of the nib. So what I'm going to do is just draw a flowy line and in between break the line all across my tile, running from one end to the other. Again, I'm going to start like this. Again, break it like this. Just ensure that it is in one flow. Like this. Yeah. Again, I'm going to draw another line like this, leave a gap, again go like this, again I'm going to cut it like this, again leave a gap, go like this, right? Again draw one more here, leave a gap, draw one more here, leave a gap, like this, right? If you want, you can add one more here, but I think this much is enough, right? So once we have done that, if you're not comfortable doing that, please use your pencil, right? And then on that pencil, just leave certain gaps in betweens and use a boulder nib, an O8 or a P, this is an identity pen to draw these. Now what I'm going to do is I have not shaded my tile, right? Just as if you are extending it, add graphite on both sides like this. Yeah, again add graphite on both sides. So there is a small white gap in between and just adding graphite on the ends in line with my black line, right? Like this. Yes, is that clearer? Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do here. So make sure you do that at every gap. It's a small way to embellish your tile. We will explore more of it, more of ins and out, where we insert ribbons inside. This is just a thread going inside my tile. We will do that with ribbons. We create loops, right? Nice way to embellish or give a slight change to the look of the tile. And I thought, why not explore it a little more? Yeah. So once you are done with that, now you can use your blending stub and just make sure your tangling has dried up, that your ink is not wet, right? So I'm just blending the graphite on both the sides. Now it will be a nice idea to keep this handy. This is a pencil rubber, right? Just in case you think that you are not able to do it and the center section is also getting the graphite, then it's a nice tool to remove that gray from the center, from the place where you don't want the graphite. Yeah. So you just want the graphite on the two sides and want the tangling to show in between like this. Yeah. So if in case you think that the graphite is going to the center section also, then you can always use this tool, which comes pretty handy for, cleaning up very concentrated. For example, here I would like to use it like this. Yeah. So at times it is a good idea to use the tip. So clean up that middle section where you don't want the graphite. Something like this where it is absolutely clean, and blend the rest. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have blended all. So just run through the sections. If you think at places it has taken up the graphite, then you can just use this to clean it. Yeah. So that was the simplest form of stitching your tile. Now I have not really shaded my background because I want these stitches of mine to stand out. Yeah. But if you want, you can always give some touches here and there. For example, I can give some touches here where it is not really disturbing my thread, right? So if it is not really disturbing my thread, I can always give some touches of shading. But I don't want to overdo it because I want my threads to stand out. Right? So wherever I can, I'm just giving some touches of graphite there. But without doing too much. Again, I can give some touches here. Right? I can always give some touches here to my poke roots, some more here on my munchins, some on these jokies. Take your time, some on the mochas. So you can give touches of shading, it's not that you cannot, just that keep it away from the threads so that these sections remain highlighted. Yeah, that's the only idea. So I am adding touches of graphite here and there without doing it too much. Yeah. At times what is already there on your tautolon is sufficient. Right. A little touch on the bales, not too much. And some on your ravel. Right, again, don't add too much, just a bit. Yeah, and I think we are sorted. We don't need to do anything else. Yeah. So the only important thing here is this part should be white. It should be clearly visible because you want to give the impact of the line going under the paper. Yeah. So for that, this tool comes pretty handy, but you can always use an eraser also. If it is not a used one and it has, that sharp pointed corners, then you can always use the eraser also. Right. So this is the start of the series. I'm going to keep it simple today, right? And I'm going to put in my chop now. I'll use my brown pen here to put in my chop. Take a moment to appreciate your tile. Sign and date it. Today is 30/10/22. Yeah. Right. And I shall see you again in the next session. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.